All right, guys. For the game, it's so much shorter when I don't have to say limited. Yi Tour is out. Ricky out. Brock out. Kevin Givens, Renardo Green, and Upton Stout are the three questionable. Go ahead.
What progress have you seen from Brock this week in practice?
He was able to get out there, throw more. Thought it was definitely a step further ahead than it was last week, so going the right direction.
What's the plan for George and Kevin Givens on Sunday?
George is playing, and Kevin most likely is. We got to talk about that as staff later today.
How limited might George be in the scheme of things? He's available for all plays. Do you have a pitch count for him?
No pinch count. I mean, George has rehabbed really well. Came back 100%. Has a good week of practice. So, we'll space it out throughout the game. But yeah, no pinch count.
How big is it to get George's leadership back right now after you lose Fred?
I think that's big, but I think the bigger part is getting him on the field. I mean, it's always good to have good leaders around and stuff, but it starts with being on the field.
What does Watkins look like this week, and is there a chance that teams will defend you differently if you put that kind of speed on the field?
It depends what they do. He hasn't been out there yet in an NFL game, so I don't think people really care until you make a play like that. I thought he's come back from his injury well, had a real good week of practice. Looks like he's healed, he's gotten in shape, and had a good week, so we'll see if he's up.
Do you have to meter George in at all, or is he just full
Do you have to
go?
what?
You have to kind of slow George, kind of like how you did with Malik Mustafa. Did you have to?
No, Malik had no training camp, hadn't had a practice in a year with his ACL, so that's different than someone who had a full training camp, full off season. Had a hamstring, so he's been out the last 5 or 6 weeks, but he's been preparing the last 2 weeks to play football, so a little different story.
You expect to see Nick Martin up this week?
Yeah, I do.
What do the Falcons do to, beyond have some good players, but what do they do to create pressure defensively?
They call pressures. They do it a lot. I think they have probably as much of a 5-man rush as anyone we've seen this year. Just a percentage of it, so they're doing it a lot, changing their coverage up behind it, and sometimes they bring more than that, but usually it's 5. They're doing it first, second down, third down to even get some more aggressive, and whether it's 4 guys, 5 guys coming, or 6, they're all good rushers. They're very active, they're very aggressive, play very hard, and have some speed.
Do you envision at all Brock being active but not starting as he comes off the injury, or once he's good to go, he's starting?
If Brock's good to go, I picture him starting. But, there's ways that he could be. We talked even, I think, week 2 or 3 about a possible emergency quarterback and things like that. So we'll always do what's best for him and best for the team, depending on what that situation is that week.
Does Bobby Turner still determine the running back rotation during games? Is that up to him?
Ultimately, I'm the head coach, so, I don't put anything on anyone else like that. But there's a lot going on in games, so position coaches are usually rotating their guys and things like that. There's certain times I'll ask for specific people, but their main job is to keep their guys going, keep them fresh, and also to let me know when they are in and out, so I have an idea. So I'm not surprised with what I'm calling.
When you look at the Falcons' offense, I assume most teams pinpoint Bijan Robinson as a guy you got to contain, and yet he still seems to go off every week. What makes him so tough to stop? What makes him so good?
Real talented running back. He's one of the faster guys in the league. He's got real good balance. Just pure talent as a runner, how good he is in the pass game. When you can do both like that, it's you're going to get touches. It always starts with touches with running back, but when you can do it in the pass game too, it goes up, and he's got a lot of good guys around him, which makes it even easier for him.
With a couple cornerbacks questionable, what have you seen out of Luter this week, and then is Demo going into the slot an option?
Demo going to the slot's always an option. We know he's done that at a high level, and I think Lute had a really good week of practice. I think Lute had a real good game, I believe, versus Jacksonville, and just continues to keep getting better. He hurt his ankle on the last play of practice yesterday.
General question about linebackers. There's a sentiment out there that with a couple of prominent exceptions, linebacking play isn't as good as it was, say, in last decade and earlier phases. Do you agree with that? And if so, what do you think is behind that? I think the league's a little bit different now, like what's required out of linebackers. I
I always think the best linebackers just my whole career going against are the guys who are just their instincts are so good. For lack of a better way to say it, their Madden awareness rating is really high. Not actually on Madden, but in real life. The guys like that's why we wanted to hire KJ Wright. He was so hard to go against because just his feel and his anticipation of what you were trying to do to him. Bobby Wagner was the same way. That's what to me makes Fred elite. Guys like Luke Kuechly, Sean Lee, like some of the toughest guys to go against. And then back in the day, you also had guys that weren't necessarily that way, but they could run and hit so much that they also had such a huge impact. I think now, with all the things that offenses do to people and stuff, it's really hard to be successful if you're not both. Almost like a quarterback position. There's a lot of real talented quarterbacks who don't necessarily always play at a high level of quarterback in the NFL, and it's because of all that goes into it. Just with truly just having to play the position, and I kind of look at linebacker very similar.
Expect Sky Moore to retain punt return duties?
Yeah, I think he's done a hell of a job. So we'll see.
What can you tell us about Adrien Martinez now that you've watched him a few weeks in practice? How would you describe him?
I'm excited that we got him here. I didn't know a lot about him before he got here. He impressed us right away, and I think he's gotten better each week. Him having these opportunities, being the two for a few weeks now, has got himself a chance to show more. Last week, taking so many of the 1 reps with Mac not able to get through a lot of practice last week. So I think he's gotten more used to what we're doing, and we noticed right away he was talented, but he's been able to handle the offense so far, and we've enjoyed him as a person too.
Clay was saying yesterday he feels like explosive plays are a lot harder to come by just across the league in general. I'm assuming you agree with that. What are you seeing that's making that more difficult for?
I think the style of defense that people play. Every team's different, but just on a whole, it's a lot more top down. Back in the day, you used to get a 6-yard run, and the defensive staff would be like the world's ending. But if you completed a 6-yard check down on a pass, you'd see them all chest bumping each other and celebrating how good their coverage is. And that used to be back in the day, which made a lot of people a lot more aggressive to me to stop the run, which does, but it allows explosives in the run and pass game both. I feel like now people don't worry as much about that. Like, take your 6-yard run, take your 6-yard pass, just do it, whatever you want to do. But we're going to find a way to get off on 3rd down, or we don't think you can do it 14 plays in a row to get 7. So I'd say it's more of that. Defenses are more conservative as a whole, which makes it hard to get explosives.
Kyle, you guys obviously had a lot of high expectations for Kittle when you guys drafted him. Once Nick went down, did that ramp up the pressure on him at all? And if so, how do you feel he's handled it?
I don't think it ramps the pressure up on him at all. I think it does from a perception standpoint. From outside of here, it's just how the world works and how it should, I guess. Your number 1 pass rusher goes down, everyone expects your top 10 pick to replace him, or 11, whatever we were. When Fred Warner goes down, everyone wants to know how's Tatum going to step it up, and it's not really like that. Guys need to try to be the best that they can. I think Mikel's had a very good rookie year so far, 6 games in or whatever it is, and my biggest thing with Mikel, whether Nick's here, whether anyone's here, is that he gets better each week. And focuses on that stuff, and I feel that he has. He's doing it in a lot of different ways, whether it's pass rush, whether it's run game, whether it's outside, whether it's inside. Just how to work each day and how to be a good teammate, be a good leader for a rookie, and I'm really pumped he's here, and I know we'd do the exact same thing over if we had that opportunity again.
Rebuild chemistry with Kendrick. How has he and George been working in practice so far?
Good. I always get thrown off with the chemistry question because George is good at getting open, and Mac is good at throwing to the guy in progression who's open. So, it doesn't matter really that they're new or anything like that. Mac's going to focus on getting the ball to the right spot based off of the defense, and George is going to try to get open and beat the guy in front of him every time. Whether guys connect or a lot, I don't always think that's necessarily about chemistry. It has to do with just how the game went out and whether both of those guys were prepared and doing their job right. So when it did go to them, what's the percentage of them making the play? And George has done this for a long time, and I think Mac will be excited that he's out there. Jacob? I think he's getting close. I'm not sure if it's exactly next week or not, but I know it's getting soon.
How Mac is doing physically? I know he had some dents and dings the previous games.
Yeah, Mac, you said? Mac? Yeah, I know like everybody, I mean, no one feels 100% great. But I know he was a lot farther ahead this week than he was last week. You know, he didn't have to miss as much. You know, Adrien didn't have to take as many reps for him, and he's improved. All right, thanks, guys.